see you guys in the dark.
I was a shy kid in elementary school. I don't think I spoke to anyone unless I was spoken to. And even then, I was often so anxious about being perceived that I kept my replies short and spent the next few hours replaying the conversation in my head, hoping that I didn't come off as weird. I had a lot of trouble with boys, too, so it was no wonder I spent a lot of time in the guidance counselor's office. My guidance counselor was a sweet, younger woman. She and my mom got along pretty well. I even kept contact with her through Facebook as I had gotten older. She was truly awesome. By the time that I got to high school, I had broken out of my shell quite a bit. I became a varsity competitive cheerleader. I was in all AP honors classes and was the top ranked art student and president of the art club, and I dated a complete asshole. I truly got the complete high school experience. Now at my high school, there was an option to take tech classes at an applied learning center. They offered a ton of courses like cosmetology, CNA, automotive, things like that. And it was a truly great tool for those not planning on college or just wanting some technical skills before graduating high school. I wasn't able to take any courses at the tech school, but my boyfriend did. He took some sort of police course, and it happened to be taught by my elementary school guidance counselor's husband. Now, this was a very large man. I mean, the most ripped man that I have ever seen. His arms were the size of my head, and that's not an exaggeration. Apparently, he was an arm wrestling champion at one time. I really wish I was joking about this. Over the few semesters my boyfriend had in his class, the two became pretty close. I guess I became sort of a mentor to him, and since I knew his wife, we ended up having dinner at his house. Looking back now, I have no idea why two teachers thought it was a good idea to invite two high school students to their house, but they did anyways. They had two young daughters, probably around 5 and 7. They were also in competitive cheer, so I spent most of the evening talking to them. Dinner was uneventful, and I never thought twice about it, as odd as it was. After my boyfriend's teacher followed me on Instagram, and he would like comment on my pictures, and occasionally message me. It was never about anything weird, and since he was my boyfriend's mentor and past guidance counselor's husband, I literally never thought twice about it. I remember him messaging me once to ask if I could come over to give his daughters tumbling lessons, and I literally thought, wow, what a great idea. I was stupid. Fast forward a year or so, I finally realized that my boyfriend was a jerk, and I dumped him. I could see his teacher at my cheer competitions, and he would occasionally message me, but I didn't think that was weird either, since his daughters were into it too. I was sitting in AP Stat one day, goofing off in the back row with one of my friends when I heard my name called over the intercom. They wanted me to report to the principal's office. Almost simultaneously, my stepdad started texting me, asking me weird questions about pictures that I did not understand. All of my anxiety came rushing back at once. I'd never been to the principal's office before, and as I stood up in the class, everyone just stared at me. I walked into the office and was surprised to see my mom standing there crying, the detective standing next to her, and a big yellow folder sitting on the desk in front of them. The folder was full of pictures of me, and they were all found on my ex-boyfriend's teacher's phone. The folder was incredibly thick. He had been stalking me, and I had no idea about this. I never opened the folder because I didn't want to know. After I left the office that day, I never heard another word about it, except that he was fired. It almost feels like a fever dream, but it had happened, and I'm just glad that I never went to his house to give his daughters tumbling lessons. So, to start off, this happened approximately half a month ago. I've had this one private teacher for me and my friend for 2 years. About 6 months ago, all my friends quit because this guy started charging extra, but me and this other girl decided to stay anyways, which led to me staying after uni along with him in class for private lessons every single Thursday. So this was, as I mentioned, halfway through June, right after the summer break, and the first Sunday I attended this class after a month. So that day when I walked in, I realized I forgot to get my books, so I set my phone and stuff down on the desk, and then I excused myself to go and borrow one from somebody. At the time, my phone didn't have a password lock, but I didn't expect him to go through it. When I got back, I saw him on my phone, under the desk. His back had faced the entrance, so I could clearly see him transferring my nudes to his phone. And when I called out to ask him to give it back, he deleted his entire contact on the whole and handed it over like nothing had happened. Of course, I was too scared to confront him, so I got through class anyways. Only when I got home did I realize that he went through my gallery, my DMs, and my not safe for work folders. I tried to consistently skip class after that, but I couldn't because my mom would force me to attend. About two more classes after that incident had passed as normal, except he knew that I found out the stuff he did, and tried to take my phone to go through it again, in case there were other pictures that he missed. Of course, I didn't know what to do, so I just said that I don't have any more of those. He asked me to go home and take some for him, and was asking explicit questions like if I would consider sucking him off. I said no, and then left. On the way back, he kept calling me on my phone, yelling at me that I was racist because I refused to service him, while I talk and send pictures to white men online. I guess he was bitter about it because he called my mom to say I missed class, so he made me go into class the next day. Of course, she didn't know anything about whatever had happened. I just preferred not to talk to her. The next day, when I went in, halfway through the class, he asked me to go get something from the next classroom, and when I did, he shut the door before I could even leave, pressed me against it, squeezed my chest, and kissed me, even though I kept shoving him off. And I guess I froze for a while, because he kept fingering until someone knocked on the door. I had left right after that. The next day, he forced me some hush money, about $200, to not tell anyone about what he did. And since then, there hasn't been any more advances, but I still attend his classes since my mom doesn't want to search for another tutor. I don't know if I should tell her that I'd rather quit than stay here for another 2 whole years. So this was a long time ago. I really don't remember all the details. I just definitely know this had happened, as others have commemorated my story over time. When I was in second grade, I needed the bathroom, so I asked if I could go. The teacher gave me permission, and I walked down to the end of the hall near where it opened up to the playgrounds. We had legitimate lockdowns because of the danger in that area, especially since a big old gate was always open, even when the school was closed. On the edge of the playground near where I was going to do my business, as I turned into the bathroom, I hear a man's voice harshly scolding someone with cuss words. Now, this was odd because I was a girl going into the girls' bathroom, but I thought nothing about it, and I just walked in. Like the stupid kid I was, I saw a man sitting at the center stall with the door open. He had an earbud on. He looked up and saw me in that moment. I could tell something was wrong. His pants were down, and his hand was pressed harshly to his head. His eyes looked crazed, and he reached out to grab me. I jumped back a bit, and he sat down on the pot, his fist clenched at me. After a beat, he looked up at me again with enraged expressions, and made a flurry of hand motions, screaming at me to get out. I ran outside and waited by the doorway, waiting for him to finish up, thinking he needed privacy. And he was just frustrated and embarrassed that I'd caught him with the door open. I waited. After all, I still had to go. Time had passed, and he never left, just cussing and muttering angrily under his breath as I listened. I would have left and gone back to class, but at that age, I was developing a freeze response to intense situations. My friend eventually came to get me, saying that I was gone way too long. I went back, despite still needing to go, and figured out that I'd been standing there for half an hour or so, waiting to use the bathroom. When the teacher asked, I had told her. And like the rest of the irresponsible teachers at that school, she just ignored it and said that I was lying to her. I would have passed this off as just my imagination at best, or just a man having a bad day at its worst, had it not been for what had happened a year later. A woman I had seen before came to talk to me about this man that I had seen. I told her everything that I could, and asked, why so long? This had happened a year ago. Why not interview me then? She gave me a nervous laugh and said something along the lines of more brave kids telling their teachers about this man, so it was likely just wasn't my isolated incident that caused her to ask about this guy. Looking back on it, I get the feeling the situation was likely much more serious than I was made to believe by my friends and teachers.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.